What's up, guys? My name's Coach Vince. Welcome to the program. This is going to be a brief overview of what the Functional Metcon program is what to expect from it. What's up, guys? This is Coach Vince here. I'm going to give you a nice brief overview. I'm going to have my screen recorded so we can do a little step by step of what to expect, kind of any questions. Obviously, if you guys have any questions throughout the program, feel free to definitely reach out. But I'm going to try to answer all the main ones at the beginning so that way you guys, while you're going through, you don't have to stop, mess up your workout type of thing. I created this Functional Metcon program just because it was more my style of working out growing up and more my type of get in, get out, but also it could just be for functional fitness. These are all athletic based prime movements, so you're not going to get some crazy gymnastic stuff or anything like that. Some are harder than others, obviously. Some are for purpose, some are just zone two. So how this will look is functional metcons are built off my French contrast style with some West Side conjugate style, which is what I grew up with, as well as EMOM style, every minute on the minute type of workout, which are my favorite things to do. So how this will pretty much go, like a French contrast, how to explain that. French contrast is pretty much a strength version of a dynamic type effort in a way. So you'll have, let's just say, like a squat movement, then you'll have a jump movement or plyometric explosive, then you're going to have a banded movement, which is dynamicness, and then you're going to have like a sprint. So pretty much all of it combined at the end. Upper body will be the opposite. Instead of squat, you'll have like a bench, then some med balls, then some plyo push-ups, and then some really explosive strength pushing. So that's kind of what French contrast is. Conjugate method is rotating between like submax efforts with some accessory stuff with repetition work or repeated effort. They're known for bands and chains. Even though that's not conjugate, that's what they strive off of, and band work and chain work is good for absolute strength and force production. Combining all of that with an EMOM style type of thing, or every minute on the minute, or every 2 minutes you're going through something, or every 5 minutes you might see throughout this program. Just know that it's a guaranteed work ratio and it's a guaranteed rest ratio. So you're always going on that set minute. So if it's a 40-minute EMOM, you're probably going to go for the first minute, second minute, third minute, fourth minute, rest the fifth minute, or you might go through all five. If it's an every 3 minutes, you'll probably have 2 to 3 exercises you need to do, and then the remainder of that time you will be resting. And then on that third minute again, you will be going again and again and again. So I'm going to jump right into it. Just know that every single week or month, it's going to be different workouts. It's not just the same copy and paste. You might see some same movements, but just know some might be heavy hinging days or heavy squat days or this or that. The whole point of this functional metcon is just so you guys can get in and pick and choose what you kind of want to work on. They're all full body, which is why I love this style, because if you're like, hey, I already have a strength program and I just need some functional metcon aerobic capacity work in there or some zone 2 work, you can pick those other days for this. You can use it as a full template program, or you can use it as a supplemental like I like to do sometimes. So how this will pretty much work is I'm going to go through a nice little screen recording, so they'll pop up on your guys' thing. I'll probably be a little circle at the bottom. But just through that first week, we'll go through a nice little preview of what it will look like. Obviously, please use your phones. It'll be a lot easier than using your computer. You guys can write everything down. Every day, for the most part, we'll always pretty much have coaching tips, coaching info, anything like that, the guaranteed like type of warm-up. Again, you guys can do your own dynamic warm-up if you have certain needs or injuries or like that. Please, please, please do whatever you need, but I will give guided ones ready for that day. On top of this program and on top of my other program as well, Dino Strength, you will have access to my YouTube, which will have some mobility flow, mobility exercises. You guys will also have some full-on yoga type things like yin restorative, not flow. I'm a big believer in yin restorative because it's better for the body. But this is pretty much how you will look. So today it says barbell heavy focus, so you kind of know what you're getting. It will be full body though. So for the most part, I will always have athletic primers, really explosive type things. Then I'll have a few rounds of like a warm up of like banded glute bridge, and it'll tell you what it's targeting, what it's engaging. It'll give you all the cues, how many reps. If you want more, if you want less, you guys decide. But everything in here, it's nice and quick. Most of these workouts are full in, full out under an hour. Some are quicker, some are like around that whole hour time. So pretty much how it will look is first day, what we're getting is we got a giant set, which is French contrast. So you'll have 3 French contrast workouts, full body, and then you'll have Metcons after that. On the other days, you'll have full Metcons, and we'll go through all that. I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can. I know it might be a long video, but again, this will be what you to expect throughout the whole program every single month. This is what you guys will have. It will never change as far as like my end. So you'll get the same rest time on the French contrast. You'll get the same things on the EMOMs. And if I need anything different, I'll explain that as well. So for French contrast, they're usually 4 rounds. And it'll usually be 3 to 4 exercises. For today, we'll just use like this whole week as an example. For today, we got pretty much a giant set of heavy back squat, explosive box jumps, goblets for endurance, and then some sled pushes for that posterior chain. In between each of these rounds, you will rest 90 seconds. So you will complete the required reps and sets that you will need, like in between each one. And then no matter what, when you're done with that 4th movement, you rest 90 seconds, and you do it again. Everything is heavy but controllable. I don't want anything being completely maxed out but get close to failure. That is the only way to work out, in a way, is getting close to failure with a lot of these things. So how this will pretty much look is we'll go for circuit 1. We'll have French contrast. It's barbell back squats, 4 sets of 3, so low volume at 85 to 90%. A lot of people do not know their 1 reps max. So think of these percentages when you see them in there as feel. We all know what 100% feels like. We all know what 75. We all know what 50. We all know what 0 feels like. So use these as like how that should feel. So in between that 75 to 80, you should have a few left in the tank. You shouldn't be like barely getting it on that first rep. If you are, go lighter. So we got barbell back squats, 4 sets of 3. Once you're done with those 3, you're going to go to box jump. It will always have guided like heights and everything, but again, you guys pick because everybody's built differently. I'll have like 24 to 48 inches. Everybody's different, but it should be not to where you can barely get it, and it should only be like to where like you can surpass it by 4 feet. So you'll do back squats, and then we'll right into those box jumps. Then after that, you're going to go straight into goblet squats with the kettlebell. If you don't have a kettlebell, you guys can use a dumbbell. If you don't have a dumbbell, I'm highly surprised if you don't. Use a plate. But for the most part, everybody has kettlebells and dumbbells. So anything you see kettlebell-wise, you can do with a dumbbell, vice versa for the most part. So goblet squats, pretty heavy, moderate load. You're going to go for 10 reps right after that. Then when you're done, walk it over to some heavy sled pushes. Not a sprint, a push. So it's like walking really fast like a wheelbarrow. I'll always have the distance required, this and that. For this one, it's 4 sets of 20. So after you're done with that 20 yards, you'll rest 90 seconds and then repeat all that again. So forth and so forth. In between each little circuit, you can rest 1 minute to 2 minutes. I would always say 2 minutes. Try to keep it there because the whole point of a functional metcon is to keep that heart rate still high and not go to a complete like parasympathetic rest is what we don't want. For the second set, this is how the French contrast days will look also. So these will be like strength and then metcon, strength, metcon, strength, metcon. The metcon days are just full metcons, you'll see. So the second one is some accessory work or conjugate style stuff. You'll have 3 rounds. You'll rest 1 minute in between each round. So we have Bulgarian split squats or rear elevated foot, however you want to call it. Dumbbell or kettlebell, 3 sets of 10 each leg. After that, you'll go right into some light dumbbell seated box squats. Again, or box jumps. I will always have videos so you guys can know. If you guys have questions, for the most part, whatever it says, just go Google it and you'll find that as well. But I will always, for the most part, have those videos ready to go. Kettlebell swings. Almost probably 99% of my swings will always be Russian swings. They're not going to be the crazy, completely overhead like these. Those serve a different purpose, and a lot of people are scared with overhead weight. So I like to just do really low impact type of things, but still be able to go heavy. Anything that is kettlebell with me, I'm going to say this once, I'm going to say it 1,000 times. Anything that is kettlebell with me, heavy, heavy, heavy. Heavy but controlled. Nothing should be light on a kettlebell on anything you do in anything of my program. Kettlebells are supposed to be heavy. If you don't have a kettlebell, like I said, you could still do dumbbell swings. Same exact thing. If it's supposed to be a kettlebell movement, you still go heavy with that dumbbell. It will not change the weight. It's just going to change how you hold it. And some people can't do kettlebell snatches or kettlebell swings, so they use dumbbells. Okay? So after that, you'll do 15 of those heavy. You'll do mixed rack carry overhead. So what you're going to do is you'll have an overhead press, so one arm up here with a weight, The other one, suitcase, which is down below. I'll have videos. I'm a big believer in farmer carry variations like that. You'll go for 40 yards and obviously switch sides. After that, you'll rest 1 minute, go again. So you'll do that 3 times. The third and last thing for this day is a finisher. I always like to have some finisher, some aerobic stuff, whether it's core, this and that. This one is a 5-minute round AMRAP. So AMRAP is as many rounds as possible. Sometimes it's as many reps as possible. But for the most part, for me, it's rounds. I don't like reps as possible. Unless I say max out, I'll usually say that. So we'll have 5 deadlifts, moderate weight. I'd rather use the heavy kettlebells if you can. If not, you can use the barbell work that you were doing on back squats. So moderate weight, about 60 to 70%. Nothing that's going to kill you because, again, we want to cycle it, but we want form. You'll have 10 kettlebell swings, heavy, and then you'll have 10 jump squats, right? When you're done with that, you go again. Try to get as many rounds of that as you can. So that's pretty much day 1 on that. Those are how the French contrast days will go. Again, that's the most in-depth one that I'll go with that. On the Wednesday and Friday, I won't go into depth because it will just be that same thing, just completely different movements. What I'm going to do is go on to day 2. So how that day 2 will look is those full body type like EMOMs. This day, I did it myself. I've done all this stuff. This day sucked for sure. But like I said, you'll have your little warm-up. You'll have your kettlebell deadlifts. You'll have whatever you need ready for this to go. If you need a different warm-up, go ahead. For the most part, you might need 2 to 3 sets of kettlebells on this day because certain things will be heavier than others. So I'll have my coaching tips. I'll have everything I need. And then I'll pretty much try to break it down in there almost word for word. So if you have questions, but once you get used to this, you'll understand half the time you can just see 40-minute EMOM, the 5 things, and you won't need any help. So the workout for this one is 40 minutes, 8 rounds, because that 5th minute is going to be a rest minute. So you'll do that 8 times. So every 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, so on and so forth. You're going to do 10 double kettlebell cleans, really heavy. Then you're going to do with that same weight, 5 push press right after. Then whatever remaining rest you have for that next minute should be about 20, 30 seconds max. You'll rest for those 20, 30 seconds. Then you go into those 10 dumbbell kettlebell swings. So double kettlebell swings and then burpees like normal. Chest to floor, jump up. You technically just have to get that far off the ground, but try to go max burpee, go down. Those go by really quick. Once you're done with that, you're then going to have 8 double kettlebell front racks. So we're going to be right here, front rack squat, squatting all the way down. Then right after that, you have 4 box jumps. Again, you decide on that height because everybody's built differently. But again, everything should be heavy enough and explosive enough. After that, the last minute, it's 12 goblet curtsy lunges. So 6 each leg. I'll have videos for curtsy lunges. You'll be in that front rack position pretty much. And then you'll have 6 kettlebell sumo deadlifts. So each of those are in that same minute type of thing. So if it says something, something plus something, you do both of them in that minute. So you got to be going. Don't go light. Don't be afraid. This one really sucks, that minute rest. Make sure you're catching your breath. We'll make sure we're like working in nice aerobic capacity, but don't go super light at all. Go heavy as you can. If you need to adjust weight, you can. Try not to. So that's how like those functional Metcon EMOM days will look. For the other days, again, we'll have then that third day, you'll go back to that French contrast, but still EMOM style. Again, if you want to just do Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or you can pick what you pick on what day, you decide. You'll have 6 fresh new workouts every single week. Same thing on this. You'll have your coach's instructions, coaches everything. You'll have that giant set. Today is more lower body like type of focus. So some like RDL deadlifts, some med ball rotational slams. I'm a big rotational isometric person. Double kettlebell clean and press, sprints, and then you'll rest 90 seconds, do it again. Normal French contrast. Then you'll have your circuit. It says every 2 minutes for 4 rounds. So every 2 minutes, you're going on something 4 times. So that's how many minutes? I'll let you do the math on that one. You'll pretty much get done with that, rest a few minutes, and then you'll have your accessory work, rest 1 minute in between. So again, accessory work, make sure you're going heavy enough. This is pretty much building our armor. This is what conjugate's all about. And again, regular farmer carries, big believer in farmer carries. So that's pretty much how those will go. Then you'll go back to that Metcon style. Won't always be 40 minutes. Sometimes it's going to be less. Sometimes it's more. It just depends on that workload. I'll always have at the top what we're working, like conditioning, strength, power output, all that stuff. So for this one, we have circuit. We have 3 rounds, rest a minute in between. We have 12-minute EMOM with 4 rounds. That one, again, I like this one. It was a really light day. You were able to add more to it. You can always substitute things if you guys need. Again, if you need a scale, if it says kettlebell goblet squats and something else, and if you can't do certain goblet squats, you can do air squats, you can do certain things. If you need help, please send me a message. But that's how that day will look. Then the last day, usually mixed modality day, are always on my last days. But again, you can pick this any day of the week. We'll definitely have some zone 2 work. I'm a big believer in zone 2. We all need it. But this week's mixed modality under zone 2 work is 40 minutes, just kettlebell swings, some push press, some lateral box jumps, kettlebell deadlifts to high pull, and then rest. And then your finisher is just goblet squats, push-ups, swings. Very simple. Again, that's a very simple way to look at that first week. The second week, it will follow that same structure. So it will be lower body focus, but it'll still be full body. Then the second day will be some power, endurance, EMOM. And the third day will be upper body power and conditioning. Again, more of that focus. It's still full body, but it's more focus on that. The fourth day is aerobic power, rotational strength. Fifth day is speed and power-based Metcon. And the last day is full body power endurance, French contrast Metcon. So literally what that first week is, second week, third week, fourth week. The workouts will be different though. It's not just going to be the same like that. So it's not like a normal wave progression where you're doing 4 sets of 3 on 1 week, then all of a sudden 5 sets of 5, and then all that. That's what the other program is for. This is for functionality Metcon stuff. So this is more my style. Again, this is like my favorite type of way to work out because sometimes you don't always want to lift heavy or do this, but you can throw these in season, off season, whatever you need, and you will be fine. Again, if you want to add this on to the dynamic strength, you definitely can. So if you just really want to work on 3 days of strength, of real full just strength days, no Metcons, no nothing like this, you can do a Monday, Wednesday split, and then you can pick a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday split from this. Or you can do vice versa. In my opinion, this is more than enough. Please don't overdo it. If you want to add stuff, by all means, add very carefully. I would also, like I said, recommend doing the mobility that is suggested. I'll have everything on my YouTube, on my own Instagram page. If you have questions, I can give you flows as well. But make sure you guys are stretching, make sure you guys are warming up, and make sure you guys are doing the breath work. Number one thing, especially after these Metcons, Functional Metcon is a hard program. Please, please, please do your breath work at the end. Reset that body, get back into a parasympathetic state, or else you're just going to be high the whole time in that car ride. I want you to be nice and low, nice and relaxed before you leave that gym. It takes 5-10 minutes max depending on who you are. If you do it right, you can do it. I have 1,000 videos on it. You guys can definitely go look up more, but definitely do those right after, work on that stuff. Again, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Again, I love that I'm dropping this because it's athletic-based movements. It's not CrossFit where you're doing these chest to bars and handstand walks in the middle of it, random movements. These all have a purpose. I started Kinetic Purpose because it means movement with purpose. Everything deserves purpose, and I think that this is going to be beneficial for everybody. Whether you're an athlete in high school, college, or pro, these are things that I program for all of my athletes. Again, guys, that was it. If you guys need anything else, please feel free to reach out. I will message you as fast as I can. Ciao.